Hi guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we're going to be discussing The Boy and His Dog at the End of the World by C.A. Fletcher. So this was a book that I recently read in June and I really loved it, so I think that it deserves its own little review discussion because I want you to read it. It's just so incredible. You're going to be missing out if you're not reading this book. So The Boy and His Dog at the End of the World was originally published in 2019 in April. I actually thought it came out in 2020, so I'm wondering if the paperback wasn't released in Australia until this year, but regardless, 2019 was the original year that it was published in, and it is a sci-fi dystopian. At present, it has an average rating of 4.15 stars on Goodreads out of 5, and that is over a total of 6.2 thousand ratings, nearly 6.3. So there's a few people that have read it. It's gaining some popularity and traction, but not enough. So I do believe that this might be C.A. Fletcher's debut book. There is another book that is logged on their Goodreads, but I think it is this book in German, so I'm now questioning whether this was originally written in German and has been translated to English. I have absolutely no idea, but all I know is that I love this. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars and it's been on my all-time favourite list for 2020. So this book is set in the future when the world is just... everything is crap and fertility rates have just plummeted. There are so many different rumours that are going about that there was some sort of poison that people put in food or water, or if it was just environmental causes, or if it was just, I don't know, some phenomena that just caused fertility rates to go to zip, and there are now about 7,000 people in the world, so there's really not very many people left. And obviously there's that sort of idea of loneliness and expanse throughout the whole book as we are getting the narrative told from present day Grizz, retelling us the story of how he's got to where he is now. So it's this beautiful narrative just giving us this elaborate story of him and his family living on this island off the coast of Britain, and they just live by themselves. They're very isolated. It's a very quiet world. There's obviously not very many people left. They know of another family on an island that they can swim to or sail to on their boats, and that's just about it. They don't really have much and they're just used to this sort of very small network, and it's a really daunting thought from the reader's perspective to think of there being so few people in the world. The story really takes off when a stranger, I think called Brand, comes to visit them, and he's really charming and wonderful, and it's really exciting for everybody to meet a new person and to hear stories of what's actually going on in the mainland, because there's this idea that it's dangerous on the mainland, that there's stuff going on there that Grizz's parents have kept their children from to keep them safe, but we don't really know much. We only know what Grizz knows, and we are only told what he knows as he goes through the story. So even though obviously at the very beginning it's still like present day Grizz telling us everything that's happened, and he obviously knows a lot more, but we only know what the Grizz knew at each point in the story, if that makes sense. So it's just very slow, like breadcrumb like information just given to us as we try and piece together the puzzle of what's gone on in this world and why it's the way it is. But what happens is one night Brand ends up drugging all of the family and they fall asleep, and when Grizz wakes up first thing in the morning because he has hurt his tooth, so he didn't eat as much of the food that had like the drug in it. He wakes up to see Brand disappearing on his boat, and he's stolen one of their dogs. So they have 2 dogs on this island, and dogs have also suffered this same fertility thing where there's just hardly any bitches that can actually have pups anymore. So they are a prized possession because people are like, I really want a dog and it's a good companion, especially given the state of the world, to have that sort of protection. So Brand steals, can't remember the name of the dog now, he steals the bitch and takes her with him. So when Grizz sees this, he takes Jip, the other dog, and he gets on his boat and without really thinking or any planning, leaves his family behind, and it is the whole story of him following Brand and this unbelievable sort of luck that he has in sort of tracking him down and trying to retrieve his dog. And you're kind of reading it and you're going, I really don't think that this kid is ever going to manage to actually catch up with him or retrieve his dog because it's so unlikely, and it's just mind-blowing the sort of things that he discovers. Some of the things that I really enjoyed about this book is just how unique it is. It really feels like a different way of storytelling. It's certainly not like anything I've read before. There's no book that I could really compare it to. It's above and beyond the quality and standard of so many other dystopians that I've read, and I really love a good and well done dystopian that challenges what we know about our world and creates a really scary future that could be real, and this definitely could be real. So as we go through the story, we're learning a little bit more and more because Grizz ends up on the mainland trying to follow Brand, and we are piecing together this puzzle of what has gone on and why there are so few people and what the people are doing who are left behind. There's a lot of like dark elements to it. There's a lot of beautiful. There's many beautiful scenes where Grizz is describing things or seeing things like roller coasters or taller buildings or churches that he's never seen in his life before. He's used to living on this windswept island where not even trees can grow because the landscape is just a bit too harsh with the wind and the salt. Fletcher has done a really good job in describing things as though this person is seeing it for the first time, things that are commonplace to us. But I think the reason that the storytelling comes across so well is that Grizz is directly addressing the reader. It is written as a diary, but not in a diarized form. It is written as a book, it is written properly in a book format, but he is addressing us as he goes through, and he's like, I wonder if you would have been amazed by this, or if I wonder if this would have just been commonplace to you and you wouldn't have ever thought it. And I think that's really fun when the character can breach that fourth wall in a like tidy manner. There are so many plot devices used in this book, such as no quotation marks and addressing the reader, that can just tank a book and go so wrong if it's not done well. But this was definitely tackled in the right way, that it feels like it should be a Pulitzer Prize winner book, and honestly I would be voting for it to win that prize, because I sure as hell think it deserves it. All I will say on the quotation mark front is that I know that this is something that really annoys people and there are no quotation marks in books, but it's actually done really well. There is literally no confusion ever as to who is speaking, especially because for the most part Grizz is alone. Grizz is just him and his dog, and it makes sense, and it creates such a sort of calm atmosphere in the book, and it makes the book seem the story just seem very detached in a good way, as though Grizz is just calmly retelling us the events of what has happened from this very logical mindset that he has, approaches the world, yeah, in this super logical way. What tied off the book so well and like confirmed that this was going to be my favourite read for the year was the plot twist that happened. There are, from about like that point onwards, 50 pages, 100 pages at the end, there are some absolutely mind-blowing revelations and plot twists, and I love a really good plot twist. So we have some massive things dropped on us, and you're kind of sitting there going, no wait, hang on, do I need to go back and check if that's right? But they're done in a way where you're not sitting there confused. I hate it when there are plot twists that are revealed and they don't quite make perfect enough sense that you can go, yep, I understand that. That's really frustrating, and that's not what this book does. This book does it in not an overly complicated way, so you're kind of just dropping these massive plot twists, really shaking up the direction of everything, and it all just makes sense and clicks into place, and it's like, oh my god, that's so clever, and it makes me so happy. It's also got a really beautiful ending, so this book is a standalone. It's not going to link onto anything else, though I would love to go back and explore the world. I just don't think we should, because I don't want to ruin a good thing, but it does have a fantastic ending as well. So I think that sort of sums up the book. We've got great characters, we've got a phenomenal plot, we have this sort of quest vibe going through it as Grizz is exploring the landscape and trying to battle his own battles and get to where he needs to go with Jip. And there are so many obstacles put in his path. There's a really unique attitude towards death in the book, because that's so common. Is it commonplace? There are certainly scenes that could be written differently and become borderline horror or thriller, with finding bones or bodies or things like that. And it's written in such a calm, like, acknowledged way. Like, Grizz is seeing scary things. I would certainly freak out if I saw them right now. And he's like, yep, that's just life, and that's natural course of events. It's just really clever, and I just so enjoyed all of the ideas. And I think what I come out of this book wanting more of is another book that is explaining more of the world and how it works, and maybe looking at the story from another character's perspective. I would love that. So this was a phenomenal read that you really should get your hands on and have a read, because not enough people are reading it yet, and it is truly unlike anything else you will probably ever read. So massive thumbs up from me. If you've already read this, then let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it, or if you're planning on reading it. But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.